age is just a number, man. Something, repeated by panel van enthusiasts that like to hang out around the local high school and beauty marketing professionals. But the fact of the matter remains, aging is something that's going to happen. In fact, it's happening right now. You are going to be older by the end of this video than you were at the beginning, and there's no getting that back. It's fine as long as you're taking care of yourself. And more importantly, you know how to take care of yourself, because modern medicine, like it says here, has discovered telomeres function as a biological clock. Telomeres are the ends of the chromosomes repeating sequences of non-coding DNA that protect chromosomes from damage, and they get shorter every time a cell divides. What does that mean? Specifically, telomeres stop your chromosomes from being eaten up, okay? Stop them from being damaged and resulting in your body becoming older and decaying and breaking away. How about that? We now know that there are many harmful thinking patterns that can actually damage our telomeres. Thinking patterns. All right, but what are the best ways to correct those processes? Reversing the biological clock. Strap in. Here's some science. Some Nobel Prize winning science. From the biological point of view, aging is a gradual and irreversible process. Aging is manifested in the denigration of cells. For example, the number of cells decrease and the total volume shrinks. Replication of genes is influenced by telomeres and telomerase. These telomeres and telomerase, an enzyme responsible for the length of telomeres, can protect chromosomes. Scientists also call telomeres the biological clock. I've never heard that before, but I also don't doubt it. When telomeres are stressed and shortened, it increases the likelihood that those cells will stop dividing and die. When this happens, the disease we are more genetically vulnerable gets more easily progresses. Therefore, if you can find a way to slow down the shortening of telomeres, you can delay aging. Elizabeth Blackburn, PhD, won a Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2009 for discovering the molecular nature of telomeres, the ends of the chromosomes. Yes, telomeres listen to you. They listen to your behaviors. They listen to your state of mind. Blackburn's president of Salk Institute of Biological Studies in La Jolla, California, told Stat News. In 2017, Blackburn wrote, "Telomere Effect, a revolutionary approach to living younger, healthier, longer." So she outlines 5 thought patterns that are harming your genetic makeup. Very weird. Cynical hostility, number 1. So what is cynical hostility? Is defined by high anger and frequent thoughts that other people cannot be trusted. All right, as somebody who reads the news all day long, all right, okay. Someone who, with hostility, doesn't just think, I hate to stand in long lines at the grocery store. They think the other shopper deliberately sped up and beat me to my rightful position in line. So being entitled, women most affected. Pessimism. All right. Pessimism has a very serious and negative effect on telomeres. In a smaller study of about 35 women, I didn't do any pre-reading on this, by the way. Blackburn found that women scored high in pessimism had shorter telomeres. Well, women in general, and I'm just going to throw this out there, by the way, the science is pretty much decided on this from a psychological perspective. Women are more susceptible to negative emotions like pessimism, narcissism, overall more negative emotions, mostly because of the way that they process the information through an emotional lens. That's just the way it is for a majority of women. Sure, there are outliers and all that kind of fun stuff, but that's them be the breaks. In addition, a study of over 1,000 men found that pessimism was a risk factor for poor health. Imagine that. Being negative about the world would result in you having higher risk of poor health by thinking that nothing matters, by thinking that it's all just a trap, man. When pessimists suffer from aging-related diseases such as cancer and heart disease, the disease tends to progress faster, and in general, pessimists tend to die earlier. You're going to die if you don't have a positive outlook on life. That doesn't mean that you have to be out there, screaming from the rooftops how great everything everything is. You just don't need to be a Debbie Downer about literally everything. How about that? About rumination. There are many people whose thinking is often a state of anxiety or self-compulsion, unable to let go of something, such as lingering conflicts between family members and individual relationships. Somebody who doesn't process their emotions correctly. Imagine that. Studies have found the obsession with these entanglements, Jada Pinkett Smith, can also affect the body's immune cells and shorten telomeres. When you ruminate, stress sickens around the body long after the reason for the stress is over. At the same time, people who have more negative thoughts on their past or negative mind wandering, rumination, tend to have more clinical depression and anxiety disorders. Yep, because most of the time, if you can't process something that's been bothering you, it will just not conflate, but it will inflate and be a nagging problem that if you don't address will continue to get larger and larger. But we've talked about that plenty of times, not the entire central discussion for this video. Thought suppression. All right. Everyone will encounter trouble. Sometimes we voluntarily push unpleasant thoughts away without resolving them. This will have a negative effect on telomere length. Late Harvard study sociologist Daniel Wagner, who pioneered this idea, once referenced the observation from Winter Notes on Summer Impression. Dostoevsky's 1863 account of his travels in Western Europe. Try to pose yourself with this task, not to think of a polar bear, and you will see the cursed thing will come to your mind every minute. Okay, cool. So not trying to think about something and then forestalling, once again, working through those problems you can see a present through line throughout this description of the different things that will cause you telomere damage, not working through your mental distractions, blocks, or problems. Doing that will cause you a lot of problems and lead to a bunch of different health issues as well. And distraction, once again, we all know that many highly accomplished individuals have strong powers of focus and concentration. No, just discipline, okay? Not everybody is born with strong willpower, and yes, motivation will fade after a while, but if you have discipline, if you do something every single day, if you address the problems that are right in front of you every single day on a routinized schedule, you will not be distracted. It's amazing what happens. So how can you walk these back? Well, obviously by ceasing those counterproductive thoughts and thought processes, but on the contrary, these 5 negative patterns of thinking, Blackburn's finding, also shows that the reverse is true. Positive thinking improves health on a genetic level. Thought awareness promotes stress resilience. Blackburn and Appel, who wrote these books, obviously, duh. With time, you learn to encounter ruminations and say, that's just a thought. Yeah, exactly. Or you don't have to say anything about it. You can just let it pass right through the ether. Oh, you remember that embarrassing situation that you found yourself in 8th grade when you mispronounced something in a book when you had a reading assignment, when you were discussing in science class organisms, and then somebody said orgasms and everybody laughed at you? You remember how embarrassing that was 20 years ago? Why let it bother you? Something like that. These 5 negative thought patterns are automatic ones, built-in habits that also tend to be exaggerated and controlling. Depending on your personality, of course, it can be more or less exaggerated. With thought awareness, we free ourselves from such patterns. So yeah, I'm not advocating for ruthless optimism where you're just happy about literally everything. Boy, I got shot in the chest. That gives me a good opportunity. I was shot in the left side of the chest. That gives me a good opportunity to exercise my right lung. It's like, okay, cool. You might just being a little bit of a flippant individual. And yeah, okay, on the main channel, I do a lot of criticizing about a lot of different topics of the day, but I'm still optimistic about things that are in my control and what I can control, because I have something to do about it, okay? And once you start to make that flip from a set scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, all of these ideas, you can understand them: thought suppression, distraction, the rumination, pessimism, and cynical hostility. You see those, you understand them, but then you realize if it's not going to help you, why give it any time? Okay, why put any thought into that? Because guess what? You're just making yourself sicker, and that's what Blackburn found out here. So put that stuff to good use. You'll find yourself in a much healthier situation from the top to the bottom. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.